And how you doing? You know what? This has kind of been on my mind. I've been trying to figure out, what I was going to say or if I was going to say anything, because I don't know. Sometimes I just don't want to talk about anything unless maybe it's about something religious. But sometimes, I have opinions about other things outside of just religious things. And this is my opinion on the obsession of Donald Trump to President Barack Obama. Evidently he is very obsessed with our 44th president of the United States of America, Barack Obama. And this obsession began a while ago. And it commenced with him going on attack about the birther, about Barack Obama not being born in America, that he wasn't American, and that he was born in Africa, and so on and so forth. So he wanted him to show his birth certificate. But then he went on to get on this wagon about he wasn't as smart as people think, and I want to see Barack Obama's grades from Harvard. And, they just allowed him into Harvard because he was black and not because he was smart or had any common sense or was brilliant or any of the things that would get people into school, into a premier college or university such as Harvard, and particularly the Harvard Law Program. So here we have this man who evidently has this obsession, and he gets elected for president, and the obsession continues. On inaugural day, the obsession expanded into, well, I got more people at my inauguration than Barack Obama. And we all know that was a lie. And then it expanded to this thing with wiretapping.
House is calling for an investigation into former President Obama. This follows President Trump's tweets claiming that former President Barack Obama ordered the wiretapping of telephones at Trump Tower during the election.
That Barack Obama had my building and my office and my phone lines wiretapped. Now he's the president of the United States, and Barack Obama has been retired as the president, and now he's gone into civilian living, and he's doing his thing privately, and this man is still obsessed with Barack Obama. He's so obsessed that everything that Barack Obama had signed into legislation, the first day he got into that office, he began writing all that stuff off and turning all those things over and, just changing everything, writing all kinds of presidential decrees and undoing all the things that President Obama had done, because he has an obsession with the man. His obsession was so great that this man, who's such and you know this to be true, he is such a what do you call that, control freak, that he doesn't allow anybody really to do anything unless he tells them to do it. Outside of that, he's going to get very angry, you're going to get fired and all of this other stuff. So we all know that the speech that his wife gave at the Republican convention wasn't a speech that she wrote. No, it wasn't. Nor was it a speech that she herself decided to give. No, it wasn't. It was a speech that her husband specifically told her that he wanted her to give concerning him. The speech that Michelle Obama had given at the Democratic convention when her husband was elected as the candidate to run as for the president of the United States. Word for word, this woman plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech regarding the qualities, the cares, the concerns, the emotional things and turns in his life. Word for word, that man had his wife repeat Michelle Obama's speech. There's something sick here. And it astonished me that nobody asked her, did you not have one good thing that you could say concerning your own husband? Nobody asked her that question. I would have asked her that question. Is there not one thing that you could say good concerning your own husband? We see in the pictures and the things in the videos and the news clips and all of these other things that we've seen of him, we see really a house that is divided. She's living in New York and he's in D.C. in the White House. And she claims it's because her son is in school. Every president who has had children, their children grew up in the White House. Their children came into the White House when they came into the White House. All of them were rich and their children were going to private schools. The Obama's children went into the White House and they found schools for them in the D.C. area. Carter's daughter was in the White House, grew up in the White House, and they found a school for her in the area. Bush's daughters were there. Secret, you know all the stories with the Secret Service trying to keep them in line. They were in the White House. The Kennedys, John, and Carolyn, they were in the White House. There wasn't a separation between the mother and the father living in two different places. The First Lady and the President of the United States lived in the same quarters. So then why are these people split? Nobody's questioning, why are you in New York when no other president's wife has ever been separated from her husband? In fact, whenever you see Donald Trump, he's mostly walking with his daughter as though she's the First Lady of the United States of America. There's something wrong with these pictures. Then, of course, the pictures that they release of Donald Trump to make him look so good have been airbrushed and been touched up to make him look younger, and the hair fixed and all of these things. The man is an old man. He's a decrepit man. He's a sick man. And everybody knows that he's mentally ill. He is suffering from something. He's just not a narcissist. No, he's not. There's more than that. It's greater than that. He's just not somebody just totally in love with himself just for the sake of being in love. No, I believe that he's in love with Barack Obama and the image that he would like to be. But he'll never be a Barack Obama. He can never be a Barack Obama, and he knows that he can't. And so therefore, he's obsessed with his hatred for Barack Obama because he's not the man, or first of all, he's not a man at all. He's more childlike and an idiot, whereas Barack Obama is handsome. He's fit. He's toned. He's got muscles. He's not an old, decrepit man trying to hide his medical conditions. He's not an old, decrepit man trying to play like he's richer than what he really is. He's not an old, decrepit man trying to pretend like he's the smartest man upon the face of the earth. He's not an old, decrepit man trying to pretend he can negotiate deals like nobody else can. This man is not a deal maker. Every business he's ever set up has failed. The fact that he won't release his tax returns speaks volumes. Everybody that he brought into that White House has mafia ties. I mean, ties with Russia. That was a Freudian slip because, yes, I believe that all of them are tied to the Russian mafia. Every last one of them, including Donald Trump, which is why he will not show his real tax returns. I'm not talking about 2005. That was easy to do. He could have did that a long time ago. And you know that he released those. He's having so much problems with this reversing Obamacare that he's releasing taxes from 2005, and he's talking about Britain conspiracy with Barack Obama to wiretap his building and all this other. He's crazy. He's crazy. He's insane. He's an idiot. And he doesn't know when to stop. He has no stopping power. They cannot control him. The only thing they can do before he destroys every single alignment that we have with all our allies is impeach him. Take him down. Remove him. First of all, because he's such an avid liar. His credibility has been ruined. But then when you consider the fact it was ruined from when they were running. When they were running for office, everybody knew this guy was a grand liar. And he would go lying Hillary. The pot calling the kettle black. My goodness. And then they voted him in because of false promises. This is a guy who talks about fake news. The only thing fake really is Donald Trump and all his fake players that surround him with fake disclosures and fake stories about what he's going to do for this country, how he's going to make America great. A man who got all his products produced in other countries, but yet he can get work to all the people here in this country. If he was so in love with America, then why, when he was developing his companies, why wasn't he paying the people who came in, the subcontractors who came in and did work for him? Why didn't he pay those people? If he's so anxious about making sure that Americans make money, when the very people who were working for him in his private life, he never paid. He gypped them out of being paid, and then would go and file bankruptcy to ensure they couldn't get money out of him. He destroyed a lot of people. And if we don't watch out, this obsessed man with President Obama is on his way, rapidly on his way, to destroy America and all of us who are in it, because his hand is on that button. And he's the president of the United States, and he's out of control. He has no stopping power. He has no conscience. He is full of himself for no reason. He's the black sheep of his family. How do I know? You don't see any of his family members ever coming forth to speak for him. Even while he was running for office and when he was standing at the Republican convention, there was no sister, no brother, and he has them, that came and spoke on his behalf. The only people he had was his daughter and his sons and his grandchildren. I think he has some. He's an old man. And when I looked at that the footage of him dancing with his wife at the inaugural balls, all I could think is this dirty old man with this woman, this young woman, fat, out of shape man dancing with this young woman. And it looked nasty to me. And then she's supposed to be the First Lady of the United States of America. This floozy who ripped off her clothes for money. Short of being one of those pole dancers, and she probably was that, and maybe pole dancers are insulted, just by her being linked to them. She sold herself for money. She was cheap, and she still looks cheap. Because when you have no class, you cannot be dressed up. You're just no class. And when you're a no class person, it shows. It wears. You could be the poorest person in the world, but if you're a classy person, your class shines through your circumstances. She was a tramp from the beginning, and she's in the White House, and that is who is supposed to be the First Lady now of this country. And they want to play and try to pretend like she's a Jackie Onassis, and I'm sure Carolyn is shaking her head no, and Jackie Onassis is probably turning in her grave at people trying to connect this woman to Jackie Kennedy Onassis. She doesn't have the class, nor does she have the pedigree. She's classless, and you see it in her dress, and you see it in her manners, and you saw it in her smirk when she held the Bible as her supposed husband put his hand on it and took the oath of office during Inauguration Day. I saw the video clip. She could barely contain herself from smiling. Happy days are here again. I can just hear that. All of them, his sons and his daughters, everybody going dancing and prancing through the, oh, happy days are here. They finally arrive. New money, believing they could be as good as old money. Classless. No class. Old money doesn't parade money. This man only goes to places that he owns. He goes there for dinner. He goes there to golf. He goes, they used to go to Camp David and all these other places. The presidents didn't own those places. They were spending money at restaurants and places among people. This guy goes to everything that he owns. definitely there's a conflict of interest. And for somebody who never paid taxes to be burdening the people of America, the people in Florida are already tired of him flying into, I forget the place, Palm Beach, and the amount of money that they're spending whenever he flies in, and he flies in every weekend. It's like he's on vacation every weekend, and he wants to call it a working vacation, a working weekend. You know, when you're an entrepreneur and you're in business, they teach you how to go off on trips, and they teach you how to do things and then write it off as a business expenditure. That's the game this man is playing. Everything he's doing, he's trying to pretend and play like he's working it as the president. And so he's doing all these things and traveling to back and forth to Palm Beach and using it as presidential expenditure at the expense of the taxpayers. He is using us. He is abusing us. And frankly, every dime that is being spent to protect his wife in New York and that building and everywhere else in Palm Beach and in the White House, he should be made to be paid back to the United States of America, since he didn't pay a dime in taxes anyway. Why should taxpayers have to foot his bill when he never paid a dime into taxes at all? And now he's cutting Medicaid. He's cutting Meals on Wheels. He's cutting NPR. He's cutting PBS. He's cutting everything that is rooted in our culture, in our society, in the making of our children and formulating opinions and ideas. Our children grow up on Sesame Street on PBS, and you know, what's the name of that purple dinosaur and all these other things that they watch on PBS. And we watch all those movies and all those everything that PBS has. We watch it. And then you have NPR, which is another arm kind of similar to PBS. And you listen to them articulating the stories that they bring on and the things that they do, different from mainstream media. And also they give you the news, because they're in touch with the needs of the people and the need of the people to know, and to know the truth, unadulterated, and to give public interest stories and all kinds of things that they bring to NPR. And so here's this man, he's slashing Medicaid, and he's getting ready to get rid of, if he can, get rid of Planned Parenthood, that services tons and tons of women around the country in all kinds of manners of all kinds of training and public service and health issues, all kinds of things. And he's coming in and he's destroying and uprooting and tearing down because he really doesn't love America. This man loves himself. He's a narcissist from the depths and the pits of hell. He's only in love with himself, and the image that he perceives of himself is being smart, being wise, being shifty, being cunning, a man of good character, but who is of low standing and no moral integrity. He is not a Barack Obama, though he may wish that he was, and perceives himself to be equal, but he can never be equal to the 44th President of the United States. To God be the glory. To God be the glory.